better come in on this.
Things that don't mean
anything, but thanks for listening. Not bad, not bad. Welcome. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to We Say Things, episode 262. That was a close one. Suns fan here with Cinder. We are live in Raleigh with an echo in front of a live audience. What the hell are you guys doing here? You know there's games being played, right? Jesus H. Cinder, how are you doing? How are you enjoying the event?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you use all your words in the last cast?
Yes.
You know, casting with Cinderin is a dream because I've learned when he's going to go on a tangent, I could literally just turn off my brain and just rest for 30 seconds to a minute and sometimes longer, and he just keeps going. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing when I make a point and then 30 seconons later you start asking about what I just talked about, and I have to play it off like you.
It's an RNG game. Usually it's okay. Usually I get away with it, but we just revealed our secrets live here. So yeah, we are at Raleigh. I think it's kind of a weirder episode because we need to condense in a bit, but we are live streaming right now with thanks of Nikki here on the sidelines.
Let's go, Nikki!
So I think we'll start with the tournament itself just briefly. Then we'll talk about our experiences at the tournament. And then we'll go to a Q&A or AMA with the audience, if that sounds good to you guys. So yeah, the tournament itself, you can talk about that since you're the guy that talks.
What do you want to know?
What's happened so far?
Some of the teams have been knocked out. There's 4 teams left.
Anybody interesting?
Cheers.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. No, not today. I'll get banned for the amount of belches that will come out of my system if I chug this. That's
you already
for sure.
spilled on your shirt
before
we went live.
Can you see that on live broadcast? I don't know. I'm a degenerate, though. So, yeah, in terms of the tournament itself, what do you have to say?
Well, I think for the most part, the tournament kind of went as expected, right? It's like now there's 4 teams left. I think the top 6 is kind of the expected top 6. This is kind of uninteresting to talk about because there's no big surprises in terms of
there were
good
some
or bad.
stand-ins that Falcons are out already, for example, right?
But going into the tournament, would you have them on a lock for top 4? Because I think they're likely top 6.
You know, we did predictions for this, but I think neither of us remember what those predictions were.
That's correct.
So,
this is how I do our predictions. So we have our running prediction game where we have a bet running. We're betting for some sort of nice dinner or whatever at the end of the year or whatnot. The way I keep track of this is I have a notepad document on my computer, and I'm very smart, so I have not uploaded it anywhere. So I actually can't tell you what our predictions are until I come home.
Yeah, a normal person would use Google Docs because they can access it anywhere, but not Cinderin. He's so next level, he's previous level.
I am very old.
I don't know how you've made it this far in life. Okay, so let's talk about our experiences at the tournament itself. We got here. I've never been to Raleigh. I've never been to North Carolina in general, as far as I know. Super nice, actually. I've been pleasantly surprised. It's kind of feels like an old college town to a degree. We went to a bar type restaurant, tavern, whatever you want to call it. That's more fantasy, but you know that works here. The food has been amazing, though, right? Food has been incredible. I think you can talk about the food before I move on. Yeah.
So first of all, the whole design, if you will, of the city, just having trees everywhere, it's like very. I'm gathering from other people that that's kind of a thing in multiple states. Like this is not that out of the ordinary, but the other places I've been to in the U.S. just haven't had this.
Well, you've been West Coast mostly.
Yeah.
Like I live in Arizona. There's no trees.
Yeah, I've been to Cali, Washington, New York, and is that it?
Well, if you're in the city, there's not going to be that many trees.
Right.
Yeah. But I would say East in general is going to have a lot of areas like this. But yeah, it's been very nice. The hotel's been super nice. People have been very nice. So we played pickleball for the first time together. So I've been playing for, a year and a half, and I consider myself to be pretty good. I know that I don't look in shape, and I'm not in shape, I'll be honest. Spoiler alert. But I'm pretty good at pickleball, and I was expecting Cinderin to be, okay, because he has racket experience and whatnot. And I've played with people that are really good at, tennis, and they'll play pickleball for the first time, and they'll be okay, but they won't really be able to hold a candle with me, at least not at first. But Cinderin, holy shit, he was good. I was so shocked, beyond shocked. Of course, Not quite as good as me, just a step down, half
we
step down.
We have to set the record straight.
Of course, we have to make sure that's the case. But no, I was genuinely, and I told you this in person too. I usually don't compliment you, but you were very good. What did you think of pickleball as a game?
It's fun. I mean, growing up, I played tennis and badminton for many years, and then recently I've played a little bit of paddle here and there. It's kind of like paddle is the closest sport to this, and I've also told both you and Nikki you should try it because she's into tennis as well. It's kind of like paddle is a mix of pickleball and tennis in a way. It's like kind of the similar type of court, but then the pacing and the rules are a little bit different. I like pickleball though. It's fun. I wish there was no kitchen, but that's kind of the only problem.
I think if there was no kitchen, you wouldn't like the game.
Maybe.
You would just stand next to the net and nobody would be able to get anything by. It's a genius game. It was named after the guy who invented it. It's his dog's name.
Pickle.
Yeah. I may have just made that up. I actually don't know. Pretty sure that's true. I heard it somewhere, but you never know these days. We're probably going to be playing some more. We played twice now, and I am extremely sore, and your hip has started to hurt. This game is serious, Cinderin.
We're just out of shape and old.
We're just really old. Yeah.
That's it.
Very old. Oh, my God. We forgot about our patrons. Okay. Oh, shit. They pay us good money, and we forgot all about them. What order is this? Okay, that's actually the correct order. You can't see the screen, so I guess I'll do it myself. Thank you to our beautiful In Bruges tier, Jeffrey S. Benjamin. That's a new one. 10 out of 10 gold blooms. Malicious Damage. Lakers fan. You can fuck yourself. Amish Toaster. See you in Raleigh, motherfuckers. No Matter Than a Hatter. A Crownfall Enjoyer. Captain Broccoli. Sons Nugget Boy. STGC Daniel. Pepperballs. T-Coil. Vlad, let's have Puppy on the podcast. Disco Farm D, the Mega Pope, Shark TM, Janie, Dop, Wooden Aftertaste Anonymous, and Raleigh was planned and built from scratch, specifically designed as North Carolina's capital in 1792. Mr. Niebling, thank you.
Oh,
very interesting.
Amish
fact.
Toaster, are you out there? There he is.
Oh shit!
All right, there we go.
My boy.
Sick. Anyone else from the list out there?
All right. You guys need to learn to give us money on a monthly basis.
All right. There's another one.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
What's your name on the list? It's Pepperballs. All right.
All right. So anything else you want to discuss before we give the mic to the crowd?
Well, you were talking about food, right?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So what have we tried? So we went to a Cajun place, right? And I had jambalaya. And we tried alligator bites.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Which was actually quite delicious and very unique.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange,
yeah,
but it was good. Tasted like modified chicken, if you will.
Well,
it
was breaded, so
well,
gotta get through
true. That. And the catering at this event for us has been maybe top 3 ever in esports that we've tried, at least for me. It's been really, really, really good.
It's been good.
The first couple of days blew me away, and it's like when it's the worst we've had is good, and the best we've had is amazing.
And I haven't been stuck in the bathroom, so it's been pretty good
true.
experience overall.
They've labeled it well.
Yeah.
It's just obviously great for you.
Yes, that is correct.
Did we eat anywhere else? You had mentioned the bar we went to. Am I forgetting one more place? Oh yeah, we went to this place the last 2 evenings, as a matter of fact. We went to a Spanish tapas restaurant, which is really good. So if you guys have time one of the nights, I would recommend going to, it was called Barcelona Wine Bar. It sounds very generic and uninteresting, but genuinely really good.
Yeah.
It's a bit pricey, but I would still say it was good value. And it's like, tapas is not something I genuinely go for, so it was a cool experience. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we were
leaving. Get the sheep's cheese.
We were leaving after having a delicious dinner, and I'm pretty sure we were scammed out of $60. Somebody was begging for. It wasn't a homeless person either.
Yeah.
It was just some random person coming up to us, giving us a story about how they're in trouble. Very convincing.
This really relates to the restaurant, by the way.
It has nothing to do with the restaurant. We can give that 5 stars, but yeah, we literally got scammed.
That's what you think.
We were walking away. Was that a real issue that person was having, or was this a scam? I think it was a scam.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit lighter in the wallets, but that's okay because we have our patrons that provide us with money every month. Thank you again. No, just kidding. Okay, so let's open it up to the floor. If you guys have questions, how do you want to do this? We just give one of our mics, and you can just line up here, I guess. Does that sound the best? All right, Nikki will take over now. Enjoy.
Temporarily, at least. Do you want to have this one? This is, by the way, a delicious amber. What was it called again? It's an amber lager, and it was called Trophy Husband, I believe. Just
You let me know.
if you guys want to sponsor the podcast, you can hit me up. I'll gladly drink this again.
And this is a Pepsi Zero. It's in season at this time in Raleigh. Actually, better than expected,
Okay.
if I'm being honest. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So my question is, why don't we see like another captain's draft or maybe like an ability draft major?
Lack of money would be the first thing. Yeah, I mean, I used to love doing tournaments like that in the past. Nikki has helped with a bunch of stuff. Cinderin helped for some of it and then ghosted me for most of Moonduck's existence. But I would say the money aspect is the biggest. I would love nothing more to do another captain's draft or like for Slacks and Midas mode, something weird. And I think the current state of tournament organizing, like third-party tournaments, actually can exist, which is cool. But the money is the main issue.
So I hope that, we have, especially now that Blast has entered the scene, that they already have their own creative format, but it's still captain's mode. I hope that we get the chance now that there's multiple TOs that somebody's willing to experiment. I personally would be a huge fan of having a captain's draft tournament, or even, we were talking about this today, like even now, the way Dota works now, maybe reverse CM is actually a legitimate mode for Pro Dota, because the way reverse CM games used to go was you drafted garbage lineups for each other. You couldn't make moves, but now every hero can be played in 4 roles, so you could probably actually make that a kind of interesting game mode. So I just hope one of the TOs wants to do that. The other thing that I personally would love would be something like the Summit, like that vibe I think is missing. And I think the fans would love it if we get it. So if any of the TOs wanted to take a chance on that, I would be all over that personally. So.
I'm just here to hold it.
That's my brother, but
Hi, huge fan. I wanted to ask, everybody's been saying there's going to be no more NA lands, but nobody said why. Is it because of the visa issues, or is it just the player base isn't big enough, or money?
all of the above.
Okay.
I think, not to get political, but the current administration definitely making it harder, but I think that's not the only reason. NA Dota is just, it's not a big thing anymore, I feel like. I hope that we find somebody that just rises above, like somebody like a Quinn who had to move to Europe. Like that was just a prototype, like that's the microcosm of the issue, right? He had to move to Europe to actually be on a successful team. And that's mostly thanks to Korean barbecue, Jack Chen, failing at his job. But yeah, I think everything what you said, it's a combination.
Yeah, I mean, what's happened over the last couple of years is kind of that Europe has become more so than ever just the epicenter of the pro scene, right? So it's harder to run tournaments in NA, I would imagine, when there's no home team. Like if you go back a couple of years, there were even multiple teams that had not necessarily a chance of getting top 3, but would at least, make the playoff stage or whatnot. NA Dota unfortunately doesn't have as much of an identity now as it used to, and I really hope there's a way to get it, but I don't know how we would accomplish it without Valve intervention at this point, to be honest. It's like the DPC was trying to do it, and at least that helped for a while. I think NA got a little bit of a comeback during the DPC, but then with that gone, and then the best talent gets exported just flat out. They all go to Europe and play there instead because that's where the best teams are. That said, though, I don't know about you. I would consider this tournament, at least from our perspective, a success. Like the audience is great. I think it's been sold out today, for example. Everybody's liked the venue. It's been awesome we didn't talk about that before, but obviously the people at home won't know this, but the venue and our hotel is super close. It's like everything is very convenient. It's very nice. So, yeah, hopefully I want to come back, but realistically speaking, I think NA is probably at a point right now in Dota where we will get one event every few years. That's probably where we're at. So, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, I'd love to come back too because I'm sick and tired of going to Europe. Holy shit.
First of all,
Bring back A to Z.
yes. My question is actually not Dota related, but since you are both big lovers and appreciators of food, if you had to choose one cuisine or like one food from a country for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm going to be biased and say Persian, I guess. I feel like it's a lot of rice, though. I would get morbidly obese, but I mean we're already there. Let's be real. Yeah, I think they have. It's just. I mean, I grew up with it, so I think right now my favorite dish in general is Vietnamese vermicelli noodles, but like an entire cuisine, which is really tough to narrow down, I have to go with Persian personally.
I'm going to be a boring European and be uncultured. I'm just going to say I love pasta so much that I have to pick Italian because I love a lot of different pasta dishes. But it's not like my number one favorite thing to eat, but there's just so many different really good ones. I guess at some point steak would get boring if that was all you ate. I guess there's also no cuisine that's steak. Although that'd be kind of sick.
That's Slacks' cuisine, actually. That's all he eats.
That's right. So, Italian. Thank you.
Hello. To keep with the non-Dota theme, I'm a massive Boston Celtics fan.
Fuck you.
Wait. That's my question.
That's good. I think all teams are equal.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I believe you can be a fan of anything, and that's a good thing.
My question was going to be, Suns fan, what's your second favorite team? And I was going to pitch the Celtics as the main team who can stop. One, we hate the Lakers as much as you do. And who's going to stop Luka Don and LeBron besides the Celtics?
They're going to stop themselves because they're not that good. Nah, Luka Doncic, I mean, don't bring that up. That is the saddest thing that's happened in the NBA in many years. So I actually don't hate the Celtics. We grew up hating the Celtics because my dad grew up in the the stages where the Suns lost to the Celtics in the finals way back when, and the refs rigged it. You know the story, the typical stuff. I actually don't mind their team personally, and yeah, if you guys are the last standing ones against the Lakers, I would definitely root for you. What was the other question? Sorry.
What is your second favorite?
Oh, second favorite team. God, that is hard. For a while, it was the Toronto Raptors because I liked their logo. But I guess I don't really have one currently. What's your favorite team?
I like the New York Knicks. Is that basketball or baseball? Fuck, I was going for a baseball team. I missed. The Yankees, that's right, almost. I got the city right.
I think the Knicks are cricket, but I don't know. You guys have been in the Dota scene for a really long time now. And I wanted to ask how you think the scene overall has changed over the course of your time in it, and what advice you'd give to folks like myself or anyone else who wants to get involved, whether it be as an artist like I do or as personality or whatever.
Yeah. You want to take this?
Sure. So your first question was the scene's development. I think that's a very broad question. Can you narrow it down a little bit? Like what aspect of it? Because everything has changed, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I think more so just the person-to-person interaction of it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Whether it be stuff like this or between fellow personalities, whatever. Just, yeah.
Okay, I think I get what you're getting at. So if I think back to, like, let's say TI2 with Benaroya Hall, like the whole setting was more intimate and it was a smaller crowd. I think it was capacity of like 2,000, and it was a lot more like, it was almost like players and fans were just walking among each other almost. I guess at some point the game and the fandom grew a bit too big for that, also out of safety concerns for the players and their ability to focus on what they're doing. And in addition to that, like we talked about, we used to have stuff like the Summit, like these more wholesome or family-like, or just where it almost, in a way, the Summit, the game was almost secondary. It was almost reality TV in a way, right?
100%.
Where did we lose that? That's a good question. Why that changed? It definitely did change. But like I said, I don't see a reason why it couldn't make a comeback if somebody takes the initiative. Potentially part of the problem is whether you can sell the idea to sponsors if they're on board with it, because you need to have, like, you can, right now you can go out to sponsors and be like, hey, look at this. This was great 8 years ago. And we're like, okay, is it great now, right? I don't know. I personally think it's a proof of concept, but, sorry, what was the second part?
The second part was what advice you have for...
So advice for people that want to get into this. First of all, and this is going to be, I think you share this sentiment, this is going to be a bit blunt. The chances are very low of getting into anything. So don't bank on it. If you're really passionate about something and you enjoy it, it's a reward in itself to just do something you enjoy. When I was playing Dota, quote unquote, professionally to start, the perspective wasn't I'm going to make a living off of this. I got lucky that it got big and I got in early. But there's a ton of people out there right now that are talented, whether it's artists or players or casters, that there's only so many slots, right? Like you can't field everybody who's good at it. So naturally it just becomes competitive. For every superstar that wins TI, there's 100 that are really, really good and don't make it, just like in the music industry or in movies. So I guess overall, if you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, do it because it brings you joy. And then if you get opportunities, that's amazing. But don't bank on it and go all in and then feel like I wasted 2 years of my life on this. Why did it go nowhere? Because I think it's an unproductive and unrealistic way of doing it. But I think for most people that do stuff in Dota, they just do it because they love the game, right? And love the community. So then that's the fortunate part where then it doesn't feel like a chore to do something for fun, right?
I'll just talk quickly about you asked why the summit and things like that aren't occurring very often anymore. I mean, obviously with like the change of how the esports scene works in Dota with, there being a DPC or whatever, like technically now is actually a good time to do it, but you have BTS who's no longer involved. You have Moonduck. These are the two main grassroots companies that did tournaments like that. You have people like me and Sinner that, well, I can only speak for myself. I'm a bit burnt out on doing tournaments because you put your entire soul into something and then it burns you, and then what do you have to show for it, So it's a little sad, but I mean, I feel like somebody else could theoretically come in and accomplish that. But it's hard.
What about the second part? Do you just share the same sentiment?
I share the same sentiment, yes.
Fair enough. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Love your work.
Thanks.
I'm here to ask for a Suns fan recommends and a Cinder recommends. Book, movie.
Oh, so you need to recommend a book and I need to recommend a movie. You start. I need a bit of time to think about a movie.
Okay, so no spoilers because I'm not done with it yet. Okay, I'm 91% way through. Stormlight Archives. I'm on book 5. Really fucking good. If you like fantasy, that's the pick. Don't spoil.
I need a bit more time to think. Can you recommend a second book?
Do you need a list of movies I can give you? Okay. Well, I don't know what you've seen actually. How about In Bruges?
You should watch In Bruges. It's really good. It actually was really good. I watched it with Susie. She hated it. I thought it was good. Does Nikki like it, or was it only you?
I've never met anybody that didn't like it, other than Susie, I guess.
Okay, next question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great time, and it's my first time to be involved in this, so thank you.
That's awesome.
Guess I have a lot of questions, but I'll make it down to like 2. First is, it's a great environment here. I think ESL is amazing tournament.
How much did they pay you?
0. I paid them about 200 for the souvenirs. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you use our promo code?
Oh, if I have one, I would definitely use it.
Unlucky.
Anyway, so I think a lot of souvenirs are great, but in terms of like little figurines that people are fancied about are still kind of old from the TIs. I'm a little disappointed with that, so I'm since Valve is less involved in this and kind of give the rights to third-party tournaments, is ESL is doing something or contributing to it to get their own souvenirs and figurines to make people kind of crazy about? Because we definitely love figurines much better than the t-shirts.
Yeah, no, I don't know about the ESL specifically, but I actually don't know if I know that Valve has given the rights to be able to make stuff like that to certain companies. I mean, they're in a state where I don't even know if they care if people do it. I remember we were early on in Dota 2 history, we were making shirts with our own designs and selling them illegally, apparently. And somebody from Valve was like, this is not allowed, right? Like, oh, okay. But yeah, they hadn't really opened it up too much, but then I think WePlay started doing a few things here and there. But yeah, you're right, it has not expanded at all for whatever reason. I don't know if that's a Valve thing.
All I want is just a plush of Darkseer.
Darkseer plushie. Yeah. You and Lyrica would get along great.
Okay.
You have anything to say about that?
I also like Darkseer, and I would
Thank you.
also like a Darkseer plushie. Yeah, good question. It's actually true. Considering how big the game is, the overall merchandise is quite lacking if you compare it to other games, I would say. I think it's probably something that, for example, League of Legends and Riot does a lot more. But it also makes sense because the way that game and the way that company operates is a lot more about advertising, right? And about that whole, like the culture, I guess. They're running or focusing a lot more on the culture than Valve is. Valve is kind of like, we have a game, let it speak for itself. So, I don't know.
But that kind of mentality, I see a former Riot person over there, the reason that this is good for us is because I wouldn't exist in the Riot scene, at all. I wouldn't be allowed to step foot on camera at all. There's no way. Did you have another question? Sorry.
Second question.
What does this have to do with merch? Okay, go ahead.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but
That's good.
yeah. Can
That's
you tell,
probably for the
tell
better.
us about like one funny thing you found over here about the game, about the players and stuff, or audience? Please say not saying me.
Everybody loves pickleball. I've learned that. I've been running into so many people who are like, oh, can we get in your pickleball stack? We have like 20 people that want to play. It's crazy. You should get on board. I am not sponsored by pickleball, but...
I play only with my mom.
Oh, well, that's a start. I play... Yeah, that's actually the same as me. My mom taught me how to play. She will claim to be better than me. That is definitely not true.
I need to play against her to confirm whether or not that is true. I guess another funny thing that we noticed here was after we've been casting, there's been fans coming over for pictures and for signatures and whatnot. The ratio of people asking about What the Horse has been the highest here out of any event we've ever been to. So I wonder if it's like something about the U.S. audience just loves that more than other tournaments we've been at. I don't know. That just stood out to me. It's like some tournaments we go to, everybody wants to talk about NBA. Literally 0 people asked you about basketball today. It was amazing. It was so nice. I actually felt like I was being included in conversation, which is cool, and not just be there and just be a rag doll. But yeah, you guys love What the Horse for whatever reason. We did record an episode, and your editor disappeared, so it never aired. That is a couple of months ago. He just flat out ghosted you. I'm sure you put in a lot of effort to reach him on multiple occasions and did your very best.
Oh, you're being sarcastic.
I don't know.
I did. He didn't show up, but yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll still shout out to Wings.
Wings Gaming, the team that beat Digital Chaos, the legendary team, unfortunately could not hoist the Aegis.
Most to me is like this patch is a little boring. People always play those kind of 30 heroes, whatsoever. I like to ask people to play some more beautiful Dota as usual and as always. Thank you.
That's why we need tournaments with different modes.
Yep.
That'll be cool. Thank you.
Hey, so it's like there've been a lot of changes in Dota like over the years, like neutral items, map changes, talents. What do you think is the worst change in terms of a viewer's perspective? Like, what makes a game a worse watch, and how do you fix it? If just removing it or something else?
That's a good question. All right, you got one.
The new neutral items are worse. I think of all the games we've cast on this big patch, we've mentioned neutral items maybe 2 times, genuinely. Like, it's not even a talking point anymore. I think I've said this a million times, but playing it feels like a quality of life. It's actually better. But watching it and talking about it, it's way more boring. It's way more generic because you're getting what you want all the time for the most part. So I would say the new neutral items.
So I think it depends. I think the audience itself is probably split on this, but I think one of the things that has happened in Dota in the last few years is that there's become a lot more objectives, and I think that does not foster creativity in terms of gameplay as much anymore, because you need to be able to contest Tormentor, you need to be able to contest the moving Roshan, you need to be able to contest Wisdoms, you need to be able to contest Bounty Runes and Power Runes and all this stuff, so there's way too much of that, where the game used to be a little bit more sandboxy in a way. The thing is, I think a lot of the audience likes this because it makes things easier to follow. It's like, okay, this is where the action's going. You can kind of create a narrative around, all right, you go A to B to C to D. But I think, especially if I had to guess, maybe older players kind of miss the more Wild West approach to the game where, like, okay, you can just do whatever you want. Like some game you're just going to play tri-lane, some games you're going to jungle a hero, some games you're going to double roam supports, or you're going to run full split push and have no team fight. You're going to run a lineup that has insane 5-man push and wins in 15 minutes. I feel like the game doesn't really have that complexity in the same way anymore in that aspect, but then it has a lot more micro complexity and like very small lane mechanics, and the players have become experts, right? So I think for me, I don't know, you tell me. I don't know what you guys think, if you think the more objectives is better or worse.
It was actually going to be objectives for me too, because I think that having something to do every few minutes makes it so formulaic. Like, you know what's going to happen at 15 minutes, you know what's going to happen at 20 minutes, what's going to happen at 25, and it makes it more predictable to watch. If you don't like the neutral items, what would you do? Bring back the old ones, or?
I mean, honestly, we have enough to talk about in the game, so it's not like I'm struggling to find content. I think it's better to cater to something like that for players, so I'm actually fine with it overall.
That makes sense. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for this AMA. I have one question for Sunsfan about Relic Arena. If
Hell yeah.
Yes, you sponsored me, so I had to. If you could give us an update about the game. Also, I wanted to ask if you guys wanted to play a round of Blessing and Curse here.
Oh, shit. Yeah, put us on the spot like that. Okay, so I'll start with Relic Arena. Yeah, we're a few weeks away from opening it up to closed beta. So if Kickstarter backers can start playing. We actually played in the talent lounge I got Jack Chen hooked on the game. He's obsessed with it, asking everybody to play. It's like a new drug for him. He gets really obsessed with stuff. It's actually kind of weird, but we just need to. We extended the deadline for the closed beta. It was supposed to be in like January or February, I forget, but we needed to polish it a bit more because there's always going to be some scuffed things. I think people's expectations on what's in a beta has become more polished because so many games come out early access now. So we're just making sure that we at least get one pass on everything so nothing looks like absolute dog. Some of it will look kind of meh. But, I mean, the closed beta is going to be like a 9-month process probably, I expect. It's going to be really long. I think the curse thing.
I can just speak a little bit more to Relic Arena because I was in a couple of those games. If you have any concern that the game does not have much skill involved, I can dispel that immediately. I absolutely destroyed Jack Chen. He was very bad. He thought he had some great ideas. He plays a leader. He says it's bad. I pick it next game and I crush him. It feels really good. I am very good at games. Jack Chen is very bad at games. Okay. Wow. I don't like to brag. That was kind of funny to try, actually. Blessing and Curse? I don't know. It's really hard to do live because I feel like if you want to make a good one, you kind of need to think about it for a while. I don't have any ready in my back pocket, so unless you have any, then I got nothing.
No, maybe like with Raleigh or like ESL Raleigh theme, like, I don't know, East Coast of US theme, if something comes to your mind.
We'll have to ponder it.
Okay, yeah.
We'll see if anything comes to mind.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, though. Are you Iranian, by the way?
I am, yes.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum to you as well. Thank you.
That's all the Farsi I know. Okay.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for this AMA. Oh, do you want to...
No, I was going to say something insulting in Farsi because that's the only Farsi I know.
Please do.
Ana mana bukhur. There you go. It means eat my shit, I believe. This is our podcast, so we can say whatever we want.
Great.
And we can drink on camera. What a lovely experience.
All right,
Thank you for the beer.
It's a free beers. Thank you for the AMA. Just a question about Dota Cinema. It got me into Dota, taught me a lot of everything. What were the first few years like, and what would you change? Would you do it again, and would you do it again now?
Not now, that's for sure. It was incredible, actually. It changed my entire life. So, I mean, I didn't start the channel. It was Neil, and he invited me because he liked my voice in a non-sexual way, which is very rare. But the spotlight videos we did were really cool. It was because he had come out with these spotlight videos that got pretty big, but they were really poorly edited. So over time, we kind of just made things less scuffed. But it actually brought out, I mean, if you ask my brother or my mom right now what I was like back then, I was a complete degenerate. I would just play games. I had no life plan, had nothing going for me. I showed no ambition. And when I was part of Dota Cinema, I started seeing avenues to kind of become an entrepreneur to some degree. So I started doing new series like Fails of the Week, Top Plays. Like being able to produce these shows was a really cool creative process. And then seeing the result and people liking it was really big. And then it opened up so many avenues for me to go on to do team stuff and whatever else we've done since then. But I've talked about it before, but the algorithm changed from YouTube. I got super burnt out looking at terrible replays people would send in, just mindless amount of replays. And it kind of broke me. So I think that's why I do a lot less content now. That's why the podcast is content, but it's just me talking to Cinder, right? We don't really have to prep too much. It's just chilling. We don't have to worry about some weird algorithm. We don't care about how many views we get. We're just doing it for fun. So yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It was incredible. And he was a part of it.
Yeah, I joined to do the Captain's Draft tournament. I became head of esports, a great title, the only title I've ever held. Kind of did nothing with it, but it was a good tournament. And then I went back to playing, right? That's why I kind of disconnected from it, because we started Moonduck, and then I got the taste for playing again in 2015-16 and started playing with what eventually became Escape, right? So that kind of got disconnected at that point, and then when I stopped playing again, Moonduck was gone, essentially. It was like an ideological project in a way. We probably lacked a lot of structure. It was a bit naive to think it was going to work the way that we did it, but it came from the right place.
You know, a company doesn't work when one of the members just doesn't do anything, right?
Yeah, you could have done a lot more. You're right.
We should have let Nikki run it from the start, if I'm being honest, non-ironically.
Yes. I forgot what the second part of the question was now. Dota Cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else did I do? I did fails with you twice, and then you stopped doing fails, right? Yeah, more or less. I killed it. I'm really sorry. I was going to say you're welcome, but I don't think that'll be a popular opinion right here, right now. Now, what happened with it? I was just guesting for 2 episodes, right? Because you were running it with Slacks, and then I think you asked me to fill. You didn't ask me to replace him, that's for sure. I guess he was just busy or something. I don't remember.
Who cares? Okay, let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
So we're now bringing back Fails of the Week then?
Oh, no.
That was my question.
Was that your question?
Exactly. Is it bringing back? Are we going to bring it back? Those were my favorite back in the day. You really got me into Dota 2, and honestly, taught me most of my English.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Can't go away with fucking cursing everything.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Love
the
it.
funny thing is, I didn't cuss at all until I met Nikki. Literally, that's why I use the word horse so much, because I used to replace that with every bad word. But yeah, you can blame her completely. But the fails, yeah, just not interested in doing that type of content. Unfortunately, it's kind of a grind. Theoretically, if it was made for me, maybe I'd show up and just talk, I guess. But yeah, thank you for the kind words. That means Suns fan. Wow, thank you.
Yes, big one. Well, now I can do an actual question, I guess. My actual question will be, what was your guys' favorite event, either as a player, as a talent,
Ooh, that's hard. So the captain's draft that we ran in DC was not at the top of my list because I was stressed out of my mind. He probably enjoyed it because he didn't do jack shit to help with the tournament, as usual. Honestly, to this day, the most memorable is TI3, the finals, which I feel like is a very common answer, but it aligns with a lot of things. Nikki and I just started dating at that point, and the finals were incredible, and it was in Benaroya Hall. So for an event, that is creme de la creme.
The thing that's interesting about the TI3 finals take is that the first 4 games were awful. They were literally 20-minute stomps. Whoever picked IO won in 20 minutes. And then the 5th game, whoever picked IO also won, but just not in 20 minutes. So that was great. But yeah, the intensity of that being game 5, and I also think there's something to be said about this is something that gets lost a little bit in bigger arenas, is the acoustics and the intensity, where when you propel out into these huge arenas, you don't get the same, it's a concert hall for a reason, right? That's why they're designed that way. The way sound transposes in an arena was crazy when the crowd was cheering. It was super intense. We don't get it in the same way with these bigger arenas, but it's a give and take. It's great that there's more fans, right? That's what you pay, if you will, for that. I think observing a game or spectating, that was my number 1 as well. The 5th game of TI3 is the most memorable for me to watch. I think my most memorable moment overall in total was probably The second DreamHack that I won, where we beat Navi, because they were like the unbeatable European team. So that was like a major accomplishment. I think we played the first game of the best of 3. It was weird. The first game of the best of 3 was played off stage. So we went on stage 0-1, I think. We kind of got owned in the first game, and then we won 2 back-to-back. So that was very memorable. That's many, many years ago. That was 2012. I'm old. Thank you.
I can tell. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Now that Roshan can throw people, does Valve actually take like input? Because I feel like that was stolen from Midas mode.
Oh, that's true. I actually forgot about that. Yeah,
and
we had
is
the VR.
Is there going to be a Midas mode 3?
That's a Slacks question. The reason he's bald is because of Midas Mode 2, actually. Not a lot of people know about that. It was a very stressful event. I mean, it's kind of the same, in terms of that tournament, it's kind of the same answer as the captain's drafts and stuff. It's just people are very burnt out that are typically the ones that would end up doing it.
Sure.
And in terms of input from Valve, not as much. I mean, I can't. You probably have better contact with Valve these days.
It's been a while since I've been, because some years back I used to be getting some like semi-regular questions from someone like, okay, can you give some feedback on these patch changes, or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think is bad in Dota? What would you want to see changed, etc. So it was like some back and forth. I haven't had that direct connection with Valve for a long time now. I think we're talking a couple of years at this point, probably. Once in a while I'll write a little bit with a beta tester, but that's kind of the connection at this point.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's a deliberate choice on their part, or if the people that used to do that just don't do that anymore and do something else. As far as ideas go, I think for the most part, if you think back on Dota's history, a lot of the things that got implemented were fan ideas. Like all the way back in Dota 1, Puck is almost entirely a fan-made concept. It was on the Dota, what's it called, Dota All-Stars forums, I think. A lot of spells that you see introduced a couple of years ago have been buried away for 15 years, like ideas for, like, I think Pangolier, some of his spells, his ulti, for example, is an old idea from 2000 whatever, before Dota 2 even came out. So Valve will, my impression is that they have like an idea tank where they're like, these are cool ideas, maybe we'll use them some point. They just store them away, and then when they want to put something new in the game, they dip into the tank. They're like, could we do this thing? Could we do that thing? And sometimes there's a Reddit thread with a stupid idea. Slacks has come up with some dog shit stuff that's in the game now, you know, like Lycan Wolf biting his teammate, infecting them, Pocket Ricky, you know, all these funny things that effectively are ideas. So Valve absolutely reads Reddit without a question, and they do ask, I think, people about certain creative ideas, but I think for balancing the game, I think they have taken a step back, and I think they talk to fewer people. That's my impression.
Jeremy Kahn, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen.
Greetings.
Obligatory, we need more NBA segment. I think everybody loves that, and we're in NA, right? So
there's a reason I haven't been doing an NBA segment lately. The Suns suck ass.
Right, unfortunately. All right, here's my question. Maybe both of you can answer it, I suppose. But let's say Valve buys the NBA. The first thing that they do, they need to do a patch for the NBA. What is the patch? Like their patch in Dota?
It's going to be a kind of a boring answer.
Oh no.
So I think 3-pointers are too much of a thing right now, right? That's what everybody's complaining about. So you need to go back more towards, like, not all the way, but more towards the 90s in terms of hand checking. You don't allow that right now. I think that would help with the percentage of 3 points, because people are just too good now at shooting. So that would make things a little bit more entertaining. And then, of course, at halftime you have like a fight, 1v1 fist fight. I think the hockey did it really well. You know, the entire sport, that's the only thing I remember about it now. That's about it.
I think they would introduce a way to go off court and jungle, and then you could find like neutral items, and you could use them. You could find different ways of scoring points. So it's like mandatory. You send one of your players off court. They go out. They bring back something, and then they can use that to either get penalties or just get bonus points on 3-point throws. Yeah, that's probably what Valve would do. That sounds like a Valve kind of thing to do to basketball.
All right. And real quick, bonus question. If I can. You guys have done a lot of guest episodes in the past. I don't know if we've done one in a while. Do you know if you've got one on the horizon that you could sneak?
We do not.
For us?
No guest episode on the horizon. These typically are not planned very in advance. I mean, The people like Pyrian Flax and Lyrical, they literally begged us to be on. That's the only reason they were a guest. And others, it's just, that's not true. I don't know if people are going to be excited about it in the Dota audience, but at some point we want to do a guest episode with Richard Lewis, actually, because, very polarizing figure. We hung out in Wallachia, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with. He's very good storyteller, So I think that would be a good guest at some point.
And then people can also find out what actually happened with Loda. Or his version of what happened with Loda. And then the week after we bring on Loda to hear his version of the story. And then finally we get a show off with both of them. That's it. Why are you still looking at me?
Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, this might be a boring businessy question, but the average number of active players in Dota is dropping. Not a lot of new players with younger demos, and there's so much competition with so many other things to do, including different games to play. In your opinion, how can you start the regrowth of this game and start actually competing with some of the other bigger games that are starting to come out? Just because we love the game so much, how can we think about regrowth?
So a lot of these answers are going to be things we've talked about in the past. But first of all, I think you don't necessarily have to. The game has been out so long; it's not like it's going to die anytime soon, right? I feel like it has not really dropped to a point that's something we have to worry about too much, maybe. But I don't know. Do you have an opinion on this?
Yes. Here's my opinion. So I think, first of all, if you look at the numbers, I don't think the game has really been in a decline the last 2 years. I think it's just flatlined. It's flatlined more so than dipped, which is arguably, if you look at the industry as a whole, that's probably a relatively positive result, because I think a lot of other games have had a decline. Because there's a lot of more, I would say there's a lot of games that have come up in the last few years that, I'm not going to say they steal people, but people will diverge into other games here and there, right? So if you have a game that isn't necessarily putting out a lot of new stuff, but just retaining its audience, that's already impressive, because there's so many other things you could, like you said, there's a lot of other things you could do. If I were to grow Dota, I think the best way to bring new players in that have never played the game before is not Dota itself. I think it's to give people an incentive to go and play a more casual-friendly version of the game. I think the barrier for entry is really high. This is probably not going to be a very popular angle, but something that, for example, a game like League of Legends does is they have something called ARAM, which is a 3v3 mode. You play mid. This was effectively what you tried to do as a custom game called
POG,
Path of Guardians, where you play a much shorter version. It was 15-minute games. You just play a random hero. You don't have to worry about a lot about items, mechanics, lanes, all this stuff. And if people get hooked on that and think that's kind of fun, I'm playing my hero, I'm doing some stuff, and then you get bit by the Dota bug, and then you get into it. Valve has never really done much in that avenue. All the custom stuff that they've put in, events, are for people that already play the game, right? It's not like you're not going to go in and be like, oh shit, I really want to try Year Beast, and I've never played Dota before. Okay. Or what was it called? The Invoker Tower Defense game, Mad Moon or whatever. They kind of imply that you already play the game. So I think if Valve were interested in it, that would probably be the best thing to do, would be make an easier event mode. And then if you can't, out of pure principle, advertise your game, because that is not a possibility, then make something that people want to advertise for you. Be like, if I'm my brother, for example, I tried to get him into Dota 15, 20 years ago, and he just never really wanted to play. He was a total Diablo 2 nerd. He could not take his hands off that game. If there was something where I could be like, hey, let's go play this casual thing. Hey, do you want to hang out and play for 2 hours? And then maybe he thinks it's fun. That's how it spreads. That's how Dota spread to begin with. The game was easier. People got into it, and then that's how it started. A lot of the up-and-coming players now that are 15, 16, 17 are from regions where it spreads by word of mouth. For example, Eastern Europe and Russia, it's a huge game, so that's where you get the new young players. There's not a lot of young Danish Dota players anymore, I'm afraid. Or China, yeah, example, right? They just don't come from there.
I think the big patches are really nice, but that's for the existing or past player base, right? You're not really getting new players. I don't think there's really a good way to do that without marketing department, community manager. Never going to happen, right?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And quick question: favorite Deadlock hero and thoughts and plans for the game moving forward for you guys?
Bebop.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun. I have to be careful what I say here. So I played for like, I want to say 40 hours, and I didn't like it at first. And then once I got to the 20-hour mark, it was okay. And then after that point, it was just too much of an investment. I think, and this doesn't mean that the game is going to not work, but from an esports, it's not an let me rephrase. Everything can be an esport. Will it be a watchable esport? I don't think that's even possible because of the angles for how many heroes you have, just the type of game that it is. I don't think it's really possible to be huge, but it feels like they're putting a lot of investment into it. So 3 times the charm for Valve, you know, Artifact, Underlords, etc. But yeah, we'll see. It's an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, so I played less than 40 hours, but my favorite hero was also Bebop. I think the second favorite one was what was he called? The guy with the burning finger guns?
Inferno?
Infernus, that's right, Infernus. Inferna, he would be a woman character. That's because it's Latin. And us is the male ending of words, which is why it's called Magnus. But the weapon is called Magnum because it's the neutral gender, and a weapon does not have a gender. You feel me? Follow? All right, that's good. And that's why it's called the Magna Carta, because map is feminine, so it's Magna. Also, okay. About Deadlock, I kind of share the same sentiment. I think it's really hard to make it a watchable esport, and I think the primary problem is the verticality. So I would love for the game to succeed. I think it's just good if Valve makes another good game. I think that's good for... It's good for the games industry. It's obviously good for them, and it's potentially good for us because we interact with, you know, the player base of games players that would be interested in it. I thought it was fun to play, so it's definitely... I'm not that big on playing beta games. I like playing games when they're finished. For example, I've decided not to touch Hades 2 until it comes out, which you cannot believe because of how much we both loved Hades 1, but I'm just waiting. But yeah, I don't know how you combat the verticality problem. It's really hard to observe that game because if you think about Counter-Strike, you're watching player perspectives, and then they have the X-rays. You can see where players are moving relative to each other. But in something like Deadlock, the perspective and how much it matters. In order to appreciate good plays, you need to watch player perspective. But when you're watching player perspective, you lose the overview of what's happening in the game. In Dota, it's a lot more easy to kind of follow what's happening based on perspective and the fact that it has no verticality really, right? So I don't know what they're going to do about that, but we'll see.
Thank you.
I like the Warthog god too. I forget his name. He's the alchemist. Moan Krill. Yeah, he's cool. He's cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we have one final question from my brother. Can you think of a question, young man?
Let's see if you remember. How did you get into saying horse?
I've told this on the podcast.
Okay,
already.
so never mind.
No, I
That's the only
don't.
question I
You
have.
guys want to hear this or not? Okay, so the word horse. We're actually not obsessed with horses. This is all him, by the way. By the way, my brother is the funny one in the family, legitimately. So, and he has a full case of Tourette syndrome as well, but that's the side case. Actually, no, that's related to the story in some regard. So there was a movie. What was it? It was a History of the World, right? It was on TV. And there's a scene where a guy is saying, like, you miserable piece of shit, okay? And this is, like, we're really old, so this is in the 90s, and they bleep it out. So instead of just bleeping it out, they replaced it with another word, just somebody saying something. So what they ended up saying was, you miserable piece of horse! Like, it was that out of character, just really random. And he, for whatever reason, just latched onto that word, and he just started using it for everything. And like I said, this is where the Tourette syndrome comes in. Just would focus on this and nothing else. So we've had some issues in the past where, you know, I'm just trying to emulate my older brother, in like the parking lot of a mall, just screaming horse at the top of my lungs. It makes me look like a lunatic. Then a group of women on the end of the parking lot look at me like, "What'd you say?" Like, wait, what? And it was like 5 minutes later, my friends were like, "They probably thought you called them whores," but I'm like, oh shit. Okay, I should stop saying that in public, I guess. So yeah, that's the history of the horse. And that brings us, I believe, to the Ricky in the back. Come on here. One question from you. Actually, I have a question for you. My good friend R. Cryptic, he lives in Phoenix as well. He has come to many a game night to play board games with us. And this is your first LAN event, my friend. Congratulations on that. How did it go? And it's your birthday.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. I mean, it's surreal in a way, unexpected, but it was an incredible experience.
What, your birthday?
No, yeah,
Oh.
mostly that, yeah. No, it was fun. Like, everyone's been super nice, and meeting people who I've like been in the audience with for years, but they came out to support was super cool. So, yeah, just an incredibly uplifting experience.
What's your question?
Okay, I actually can have one. You ready? All right. Which of you is better at pickleball, and how is it Cinderin?
It's not. Well, okay. So I'm usually very cocky at this kind of stuff. And maybe he'll disagree with me. I think I'm better right now. If he played for a month, he'd be better than me. I hate to admit it, but he's just got natural talent or something. I mean, what do you think, Ricky? You played with us.
No, yeah, you're definitely better now. I agree. Cinderin is an absolute freak of nature. I don't get it. I don't know how we played for the first time, and he slaughtered me. It wasn't even remotely close.
All right, thanks for the question.
Yeah,
Now
you're welcome.
Get the fuck out of here. All right, I think we're good, right? All right, so thanks everybody for joining us for this impromptu We Say Things episode. Until next time, Suns fan Cinderin.
Signing out. We're playing the intro as an outro to this episode. Subscribe.